feel immense privilege to be the son of Lawrence Tracy Cline. My dad was smart, loving, kind, funny, handy, a family man, and so much more. He graduated with a bachelor's in physics and a master's in mechanical engineering. He wooed my mom, which couldn't have been a small feat. He built a dock for my mom's family's cottage and always put family and friends first. But I sadly never got to see these amazing qualities of my dad. This is because FTD strikes those in the prime of their lives, often between the ages of 45 and 64. My dad was in his early 40s when he started showing symptoms of FTD. My triplet siblings and I were just infants. It was a long 7-year fight to get an accurate FTD diagnosis, with misdiagnoses of early onset Alzheimer's and depression and anxiety along the way, and an even longer 15-year uphill battle as he deteriorated, with a lot of the caregiving fell on my mom, me, my 4 siblings, and additional help until it became too much until he passed in 2012. About 60% of FTD cases are sporadic, meaning there is no known cause. My dad was impacted by genetic FTD, which makes up about 20% of known FTD diagnoses. He and his 3 brothers all passed away from FTD or ALS, caused by the C9 or 72 genetic mutation. FTD is a terminal illness. There's a 50% chance that my 4 siblings and I will suffer a similar fate. I never told anyone this before, but I'm absolutely terrified of dying of FTD. I'm terrified that one day, like my dad, I'll lose my work ethic and stop trying to perform to the best of my abilities. I'm terrified I'll be unknowingly cruel and stop being there for my future wife. I'm terrified that my future kid will get hurt, and instead of being there for them, I'll just stand there and laugh. Most of all, I'm terrified that one day, like myself, my future kids will only remember me by these qualities. But when your biggest fear is FTD, it makes you quite fearless to everything else. So biking 3,600 miles across the US with no previous biking experience and a very rough plan, I thought, what could go wrong? Luckily, the wiser people in my life insist I can't go alone. So I asked my soon-to-be brother-in-law, Paul, who later let me know when he agreed to it that he thought I was joking. Lucky for me, I said no take-backs. On June 17th, after a minor hiccup of the airline losing Paul's bike, we left from Astoria, Oregon, and set off across the US. I was filled with excitement and adrenaline as I dipped my rear tire into the Pacific Ocean, marking the start of the journey. But adrenaline can only take you so far, especially when you're climbing 3,000 to 4,000 feet through mountain ranges every day in the first week with 0 experience. By day 3, I found myself thinking, I should have just done a bake sale. I probably should have read a few more cycling blogs, because as it turns out, saddle sores are very real. But eventually, I found my rhythm. The bike no longer felt like a foreign object, and for the first time, the saddle sores were healing, and I truly felt comfortable on the ride. But as those impacted by FTD know, comfort may only come for a brief moment, if at all. Because just when things were feeling good, a dog ran out in front of me, causing me to fall and land on my wrist. At the time, we were in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, and the nearest medical center was about 70 miles away. So as any young man would do, I hopped on my bike and didn't tell my mom. After pushing through the pain for 50 miles and hitching a ride for the last 20, we made it to the hospital where I found out my wrist was broken. Immediately, I was struck with grief. When you lose someone from FTD, it's finally quiet, but you feel it so loudly. It makes it hard to push on, but you have no other option. So after surgery and a week off, I got back on my bike with a brace. I was a little wobbly to start, but persisted with the support of Paul, people following along online, and countless strangers who would go out of their way to give us food, a place to stay, and even help out with flat tires. Paul had 13, so they had a lot of opportunities. With the help of everyone, Paul and I were able to bike through 5 more states together before he had to go back to teaching, and I was left to finish the last 5 states on my own. With 4 days left until I finished in Charleston, South Carolina, I was run off the road into a ditch by a box truck. You would think after my first accident, I would have learned to tuck and roll and stick to landing. But sadly, I was not that graceful, and this time I broke my collarbone. Luckily, I was only about 50 miles outside Atlanta, so my brother was able to come scoop me up out of the ditch and take me to the hospital. When I first realized I wasn't going to be able to finish, I was heartbroken, and once again, struck with grief. Instead of wallowing in it, I reached out via social media to everyone who supported me along the trip so far, asking for their help in finishing the last 300 miles of my journey. People across the globe got on their bikes and pedaled for me, tallying up enough miles to almost make it back to the other side of the country. While it was not the finish I ever imagined, it was almost more beautiful and sums up what AFTD is all about. Because having a loved one with FTD is impossible to get through alone. It takes a community of support rallying around you, lifting you up when you can't keep going. Just like my journey across the country, together we are paving a path forward for those impacted by FTD. We're fighting for earlier diagnoses, better care, and groundbreaking research. And one day, because all of us here tonight, no child will have to watch their parent be taken by this disease. As a community, we fight, we endure, and we will cure FTD. Thank you.